Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuzz here, and today's video is going to be a very interesting one, and it's going to be a video where I see just exactly how much money I can make starting from absolutely nothing in RuneScape 3. So basically from scratch. Now I've done videos before where I see how much money I can make PVMing in 10 hours, but in those videos I have all my gear, all my max gear, everything. So this video, we're going to be starting from 0 GP with no items at all, and I'll have to build my way up and my gear up from scratch. Now I decided to see how much money I could make in 5 hours of time because I feel like that's about what a lot of players play in a day on average. Now I know some of you may be thinking, hey, I'm playing 12 hours a day. But, you know, a lot of people, I think if we took the average, some people play 2 hours a day, some people play 10 hours a day. I think 5 is close to average. So yeah, I decided this can give a more honest look about how much you can actually earn in a day from scratch. Because, you know, when people do loot from 24 hours from scratch, those are awesome videos, but a lot of the times 24 hours for your average player could be like a week. So I thought this would be kind of a cool look at it, and it would put way more emphasis on trying to make as much money as soon as possible and maybe trying some different tactics. So I'll have a timer up on screen at all times counting up to 5 hours, and the only rule I have is I have to start with nothing. I can of course buy stuff off the GE with money, but I won't be using any untradables that I already have either, so I won't be taking out chaotics and killing capes at the start or anything. I'll have to actually get those myself, and if there is an untradable item I can pay for, I'll be paying what they cost in money to get them. So if you like videos like this, I do tons of RuneScape 3 content, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another one. And if you subscribe, you can demand a cookie from me in the comments. Chocolate chip or snickerdoodle. Alright, so my goal for this video is going to be 100 mil in 5 hours. It's very ambitious starting from scratch, and I honestly doubt we'll get there because 20 mil per hour doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're starting from nothing, it really is hard. So I basically have a plan for what I want to do, and I think I can get us to 100 mil, but first I need to make some starting cash. This is one of the most important things when starting from scratch, so the easiest thing I could think of doing was going to incandescent energy and harvesting some energy for a bit to make us some starter money. I don't need much money, maybe 300 or 400k, so let's go do this. So I basically sat there naked harvesting energy for around 25 minutes, and we got 3,500 energy, which is not too bad to start us off with. And we ended up going and selling that for 583k. So that is our starting cash, and I'm now going to buy the supplies I need to enter phase 2 of my plan. So my plan is to go to Revenants. So I ended up buying a Royal Dragonhide set, Frinthree Brace, Amulet of Glory. I bought the ingredients I needed and made some extreme ranging potions. I bought some pack yak pouches and winter storage scrolls. And my plan was to find the Hellfire bow, which if you don't know what that is, it's a bow in the wilderness that is randomly spawned. And I believe it's like a tier 99 bow, which makes it extremely OP, and it's free to use, and it has its own ammo. Now the only downside is it will alert players that I have it and in what level wilderness I'm in. So I was a bit worried about that, but it's a risk I'm just gonna have to take for this method. I can't really afford any weapons right now, and I'm not gonna go use like a tier 40, so this is about as good as we can do. And hey, if I die, I'll go back to incandescent energy. It's not like we'll lose that much, except my pride. So the Hellfire bow is really annoying to find because you need the wilderness sword to locate it, and then it only tells you a general direction to go in. I paid 100k out of my money and bought my wilderness sword back, and then we got to hunting for this Hellfire bow. We killed about 15 minutes of time, but finally I ended up finding this. I almost gave up hope there, and I took it, and we ended off going to Revenants to try to get us some nice loot. Now, the reason I wanted to do Revenants was mainly this. Revenants have some decent drops like the Zoriel Staff, the top, and the bottom, which are all like 8 to 15 mil. They have Ancient Warriors equipment patches, which are like 10 mil, and then a bunch of other items worth like 500k to 1 mil, but nothing better than the Statius Warhammer, which currently sells for like 170 mil as of today, and it's very rare. I think I've killed like 22,000 Revenants, and I've only gotten one, and then I got 2 other corrupt Statius Warhammers, and if you don't don't know, Revenant items drop in a corrupt and non-corrupt form. The non-corrupt Statius Warhammer is used in an essence of finality, and that's why it's so expensive. The corrupted version is basically worthless, so getting one of those is a huge troll. As for drops, we started off getting a Vesta chain body at around the 1 hour mark, which isn't too expensive, but is a nice 500k, and at this point that pretty much doubles our bank, so we'll take everything we can get. My plan was to kill revs around the halfway point to about 2.5-3 hours and see if we can get something good. So not too long after we actually got here, I ended up getting attacked by a Piquer, which could derail our entire plan. Let's see if I can escape. So yeah, we ended up escaping this Piquer and basically juking him out at the door. I mean, come on, did you guys see that? Someone give this guy a map. But sadly, when we logged out, our Hellfire bow dropped to the ground, which is what it does when you log out, but I actually ended up getting it back a bit later when I logged in at the same spot and the Piquer was gone. So we continued revs, not really getting much, and then the unthinkable happened, and I mean some insane luck. We killed an imp and boom, a Statius Warhammer. There it is. I could not believe this. I was so in disbelief at this point, and my mind went to, oh snap, this would make a great thumbnail. Look at the Statius Warhammer on the ground glowing in all its glory, and then I realized I could easily die. So I picked it up and ran and tellied out as fast as I could. But wow, we got a Statius Warhammer in less than an hour at Revenants. You really can't write this. There's really no better outcome than this, and it was absolutely the best case scenario, and we ended up getting it. I've got to say, thank God it wasn't corrupt. So we ended up selling the hammer for 171 mil, which is what it was going at the time, which was very, very good. And what I decided to do with this money was I decided to go and buy a Revenant Bane 2H sword for about 3 mil, which is very, very good for Revenants. And I wanted to use that to try to finish out the time I had allotted. And yeah, because at this point, we're really playing with house money. So after this, I went back to Revenants, and I had taken a break for a few hours, and it was now later at night, and I decided I would go back and see what I could do for the next, I don't know, hour or so that we had left, and I got some decent drops, but of course I couldn't really expect much. I mean, we had just gotten a Statius Warhammer, so like I said, we're playing with house money, and I ended up getting a few decent things like a Guthix Embracer. I got a corrupt Zoriel's Chaps, which are pretty worthless. They could be like 6 or 7 mil if they weren't corrupt, but can I really complain about anything right now? So yeah, I did get some decent items. So I ended up selling our statuettes to Mandrith for a little bit of money. You can get statuettes that can be sold to him for money from Revenants as well, up to 5 mil. We did get a decent chunk of change there, and I forgot to mention I got a corrupt Zoriel staff, which is the second best item you can get if it's not corrupt, but again, don't really have room to complain here. And yeah, we got a little bit of money, probably about 1 mil or 2 to add on after another hour. So now it's time for phase 2, and after this, the same morning I was doing this, Zuck was actually released into Runescape 3 on Monday, October 25th, and I decided since we got so lucky at Revs, I would take a risk and try to do Zuck in budget gear. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Zuck is just one of the most powerful bosses in RuneScape history, and we'll be doing him on release with budget gear. It should go great. So with my cash pile, I ended up buying a tier 87 Obliteration Staff, and I ended up perking that out with Precise 6 and Equilibrium. Then I went and I bought some Subjugation, and I spent around 100 mil or so on gear, rune pouch, stuff like that, everything for Zuck. Now keep in mind, when this was recorded, this was the day of release, like the first hours into release, and barely anyone, including myself, had any idea what to do for Zuck. I basically spent a good while in the fight caves trying to figure everything out. I kept running out of food so easily and really had no idea what to do. The gear wasn't making it any easier, but I was getting some nice drops adding to the loot chest, which had me encouraged to keep going. I had around 7.7 mil just from doing like waves 1 to 8 over and over again because I kept dying. What I then decided to do was swap my gear out and buy Ganodermic and use Animate Dead as a spell. That could allow me to tank much easier, and I kept dying at the later waves, so I thought this could be a good swap because Subjugation was just not doing it. I did actually finally end up getting the Zuck normal mode kill and getting the Reaper crew back, which was really nice, and basically this was our ending chest. We didn't get any rare drops or anything, but we did get some really decent loot in there. I didn't get a flawless run in normal mode because, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing, so we didn't get the new cape upgrade, but we got some decent loot, and we still have like 25 minutes or so remaining at this point. So what I ended up doing was selling all our loot and all my gear that I had. I repaired my Ganodermic and everything like that. So we had very little time left now, so I decided I would go back to where it all started for the last 15 minutes, and I stayed at the incandescent energy. And yeah, our 5 hours was then done. It was super eventful, but it's now time to see how much money we made starting from absolutely nothing in 5 hours of time. So in 5 hours, starting from 0 GP with no items whatsoever, no untradables, we made a total of 188.9 mil in 5 hours, which comes out to over 37 million GP per hour. Of course, a large part of this was from the Stadius Warhammer drop, but we did make a decent 7 to 8 mil an hour at Zuck, which on release was super slow, but I think for the method we did, we came out pretty good. This was a really fun and eventful video, and if you want to see another one, if we get to 500 likes on this video, I'll commit to a 24 hours from scratch and see just how much we can make and put it out next week. So let's see if we can hit that goals. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I tried to mix it up with some new things. I think it was really fun, and I really enjoyed making this one. So I hope it also gives you some motivation to make some money yourself, and I'll see you all in the next video.